Alrighty, so tonight's practice is all about getting us into an inner feeling of poise and of grace. That sort of bringing inwards and that calming down. And of course, as we have been reflecting on and thinking about the passing of Queen Elizabeth II and how she absolutely epitomized that queen archetype, as well as obviously being our queen, that queen archetype of dignity, of just knowing, of being very still in herself, of being able to make decisions and sit in her presence. She epitomized that leadership. As a woman, she was so feminine, but not in a sexual way and not in a bossy kind of power over way. She absolutely embodied, that sense of simply being in her confidence and in her grace. So grace also is a lack of striving. It is an allowing. In yoga, we have this fabulous term called Ishvara Pranidhara, and it means that we do the work, we move towards a positive outcome, or what we hope is going to be a positive outcome. So in our case, we turn up, we get on the mat, we do the stretches, we do the release work, we do the breath work, we keep showing up, But ultimately, we do so without attachment to it has to be a certain outcome by a certain time. We do so with a sense of giving over to something that is bigger than ourselves. And that is the inspiration, the bringing in of spirit. We do that with breathing, the bringing in of spirit as we inspire. And it just makes me really think of the Queen. She had that inspirational way of being. She was full of spirit. She was very full of her faith. And she epitomized that doing the work, but she wasn't grasping. There's no grasping about her, was she? She's very poised. So when I do the getting taller against the wall, which we'll do tonight, imagine you are the queen and just notice how good it feels to be stacked in good alignment. It actually helps our thoughts to become more upward spiraling. Whereas when we are slouched and our head is poking forward and we're collapsed, we tend to, not just in thought, but in body and all of our systems tend to collapse down and kind of blur. So allowing yourself to, I guess, pay respects to everything the Queen represented by pulling in her essence tonight. So I'm going to get you to start over by the wall and just take a hip against the wall. You're going to need some props nearby. So I always just have my blanket and a bolster or a pillow, a strap nearby. Take one hip there and just slowly roll down onto your back and let your feet go up the wall. And for a moment here, we're just going to pause and take the arms out and up, or maybe out to the sides if that doesn't feel so good on your shoulders. If neither of those feel good on your shoulders, just hand on belly so you can really encourage the belly to release as we breathe. And I'm going to get you to wriggle your jaw and give yourself a couple of big yawns. So you open your mouth as wide as possible. And then take 10 breaths where you pull the inhalation into the back of your nostrils and you allow the breath to come right down into your lower belly and out into these side ribs here, into the intercostal muscles. And then as you breathe out, make a bit of noise and let your lower jaw relax and go, ha. You want to make the exhalation as long as possible. So 10 of those. Keep going. As you exhale, allow the lower jaw to release from the upper jaw. Imagine those little screws are unwinding. Feel the lovely weight of your legs pressing down into your pelvis, and just feel the back of your pelvis spread out. Let go of any holding in your glutes. Let your gluteal muscles, your bum muscles be nice and relaxed. And allow your upper back to soften. So let your shoulders just soften. Imagine all the little muscles are starting to melt into the ground. And over these next couple of exhalations, saying to yourself, letting go. So inhale, I'm. Exhale, letting go. So as you make that noise, as you go, letting go. I'm letting go. Beautiful. Take the hands up towards the ceiling and just flick out your hands. Let your wrists be nice and floppy. And then kind of jiggle your wrists around so that you make your arms jingle jangle. Back of your shoulders are heavy into your ground, to the ground there. You jiggle jangle, jiggle jangle. Wiggle your jaw as well. And then take your feet off the wall and see if you can jiggle jangle your feet as well. So everything's jiggle jangling, flicking your feet, flicking your wrists. See if you can get your thighs wobbling, get your arms wobbling, let your shoulders be heavy, let your pelvis be heavy. Maybe blowing out a little bit of a hoarse breath out, so you go like this, and you go, get your cheeks wobbling as well. So imagine that you are a gazelle, you've just been chased by a lion across the savannah. You've just got to safety and you need to shake your body to let all the cortisol, all the adrenaline to just kind of drain away. So beautiful. Notice how when you flop your feet back on the wall, there's this lovely tingling sensation. Take one foot off and just massage that ankle around. So get the muscles in your feet mobilizing. That's the way. You might do this with your wrists as well. Actually take your hands and just stretch out, mobilizing the wrists. It's amazing how we forget our extremities, but you know what it's like when you have a massage on your feet or on your hands. It's lovely, isn't it? So just getting a bit of blood flow around the feet and the hands. Let's turn the hands in the other direction. Oh, hang on. Brain is not liking that. Do foot first. Okay, once you've got the foot going, try the hands as well. Ooh, that's a bit weird. My brain's not liking that at all. That's interesting, isn't it? How the brain and the foot and the hands are all going in different directions. There we go. Beautiful. And then just point your toes, stretch your feet like that, and then pull your toes back towards you. So stretch the back of your legs into your calves. Point your toes, stretching that way right through to the big toe, and then pull back, make it a bit crampy, slowly, and then pulling back. Just press up through the heels, press down through the back of the pelvis for a moment, then take your right leg off the wall. Keep pressing down into the back of your pelvis, and then rub the back of your leg here. Give it a bit of a warming rub. Keep pulling your toes back. Keep pressing the heel away. Keep pressing the back of the pelvis into your mat. And then turn the toes slightly out and rub the outside of your legs. So you get that nervy stretch. Beautiful. And then let's do that on the other side. Pull those toes back. Push the back of the pelvis into the mat. Rub the back of the legs. Maybe two hands there. Get a bit of extra warmth into the back of the legs. Right up near the knee. And then down a bit near your bum. And then turn the toes outwards. Rub the outside of the leg. Beautiful. Now, before we take a bold strengthening our pelvis, take your feet onto the wall, push your heels into the wall, and just notice how when you push your heels into the wall, your hamstrings and your bum activates, and then release it. Push your heels into the wall again, a little bit of activation, release it, yeah? So pushing heels in, activate, release. Now, you might feel as well your pelvic floor slightly. If you push your heels in, pelvic floor, and then release. That's why when we're doing squats and things, we want to make sure our heels push down, because we want our bum activating and we want our pelvic floor activating. And then this time, peel yourself up off the ground and then peel back down onto the ground. Peel up and then peel down. Don't look at your screen, just keep the chin drawn back. So listen to my voice, peeling up and down. Now imagine your spine is a string of pearls, and you want to try and place each pearl down onto the ground one at a time. So take it quite slowly this time as you come down. Press the back of the pelvis into the ground, relax your bum, and then press the heels into the wall and come back up again. So you want to come up towards the shoulders, feel a bit of a massage into the shoulders. Not too high, not into your neck, just into your shoulders. And then down. Good, one more of these, peeling up and then peeling down. Now I'm going to put a bit of height underneath the pelvis, maybe one blanket, maybe two, so that pelvic organs are just tipping away from pelvic floor here. And then take your knees wide. So I just did this a little bit earlier on and thought it was quite a good one to do. So we'll do this now. Take your hands and slide them down towards your knees. Now, as you breathe in, our lower belly softens, our ribs go out to the side. And then as you breathe out, I want you to slide your hands outwards to encourage your breath to feel as if it's pouring down and out through your thighs and towards your knees. To encourage those adductor muscles, your inner thigh muscles, to start to release. So we breathe in, belly is soft. You breathe out, your jaw relaxes. We're doing the relaxation breath out, not the activation breath. So we're not pursing lips and going, we're going, relax. Let your shoulders be relaxed. Just notice if they're starting to creep up towards your ears. Beautiful. And then arms out to the side, feet a little bit closer, and just tilt your knees to one side and press the top knee slightly down towards the wall here. So we're stretching into this outer area, also a little bit into the inner knee. And then up and over, feet wide, knee dropping in towards the wall. And then again, releasing down, getting right up here into the hip. And then again. Beautiful. I'm just going to get you to do that caterpillar thing with your feet on the wall. So I've not done it on the wall before, but I thought we might as well since we're here. So you basically, you're on your heels and then you roll to your toes, you scrunch, and then like a caterpillar, you put your heels down and you roll and you scrunch. So you go up the wall, a couple of caterpillar rolls, and then you've got to do backwards caterpillars. You go the other way, scrunch your toes, roll back to your heels, scrunch your toes, roll back to your heels. Really interesting to see if feet like this or not. Really super important that as we age, we keep our feet mobile, we keep our toes able to spread apart. This really is foundational for everything else up the chain. So if you find in the mornings your feet are super stiff, and often that happens as our estrogen levels start to drop, and it's really quite indicative of where you are in your cycle as well. Make sure you're doing a little bit of this stuff. Good. Let's just give those feet a little bit of a shake. Again, release, 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 shake, 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 shake. Nice one. Okay, so shuffle yourself back off the wall and roll your blanket, or you might use a towel here, into a tight roll like that. And then place it underneath where your bra strap is, so just across your back, and then drop your head back. Now, if you like going a bit higher, if you've got a bit more mobility through the thoracic spine, by all means use your bolster. I'm just doing it a little bit lower tonight. So we want to make sure it's comfortable though, we're not tilting our head back like so. Chin can still tucked in, and we've just got a bit of weight through the sort of the top of the ridge of the head. Ribs are flaring out to the sides, but we don't want to feel like we're in a big back arch. It's more of an opening of the rib cage. We want to have the pelvis comfortably sitting on the ground. So if it's too high, just make it a bit lower. It kind of feels like you can breathe here. So imagine you've got gills like a fish and you're breathing in, really maximizing the stretch of those intercostal muscles between the ribs. Now see if you can take your feet together and let your knees drop out to the side. Now that we've opened the inner thighs a bit, we'll go a bit further into the psoas muscles here. If that feels too extreme, if you've got extra pillows around you, slide them underneath your knees so your knees can sort of be supported on something. So they will still open, you just won't be gripping. If these guys feel like they have to grip, they won't let go. So we need to make sure that they feel like they can just go, all good here. Alrighty, so if it's comfortable, again, arms up and overhead or out to the side. If not, just like so. But we want to try and get a bit of mobility of the shoulders as well. So this is what we're aiming for. Now I'm going to get you to deeply breathe in. And this time, make a humming sound as you breathe out. So the exhalation is a lot longer. You're really trying to extend the exhalation. Close the eyes if it feels comfortable for you to do so. Let the eyeballs become super heavy in the sockets. Soften the little muscles around your eyes. Breathe in through the back of your nostrils so it feels like you're flaring these ribs out to the side. And then a Now I know low vibrational sound doesn't translate through Zoom very well, as I experienced when I was doing my singing bowl thing and no one could hear it. So you're just basically humming like a or like a buzzy bee. And that extra constriction on the back of the throat allows us to extend the exhalation. The low vibrational sound tells our pituitary gland to produce that progesterone. It's a great way just to help the system calm down. So do all the bits you can do. Use your tools, softening the face, extending the exhalation, letting the knees be relaxed, allowing the psoas to soften, breathing deeply in so you've got the capacity to exhale completely, to the last bit of breath out, every little bit of exhale out, nothing left in your lungs, breathing in deeply. Beautiful. And then just allowing those knees to come together. And I'm going to get you to take the blanket now, put it over come onto your side and put it underneath your head, like so. So we just do a nice little warm up for the body. Come and roll onto your side as if you're going to sleep. Get yourself nice and comfortable. Take the top hand onto your forehead, right into that third eye point here, and then drop the elbow down. Close the eyes, loosen your cheeks, loosen your jaw, breathe in deeply through the back of your nostrils. And as you breathe in, take that top elbow and draw it behind you and pause as soon as you feel the twist in just below your bra strap, thoracic spine area, and the stretch here in your chest. So we breathe in deeply, and then as you exhale, elbow down to elbow, breathing in. And I know this is all slow. We can make it very meditative, very internal, and very much bringing the mind and the body together via the breath, that inspiration, that bringing in of spirit, breathing in deeply and noticing how your breath, and the deeper that breath is, the more you can start to open your chest, the more movement you get, the more kind of flexibility. These muscle fibers are being infused with this oxygen. This movement is expanding with the expansion of your breath. Bit by bit, we're aiming to get the elbow down towards the ground behind us. This time, just pause here. Turn your head back to the front, but leave your elbow behind you. Just pause for a moment. And then slowly see if you can unfurl the fingers away from you. So you stretch right out through to your middle fingers. Palm is stretched, palm facing up towards the ceiling. It's a nervy stretch. We're going down the lung 1 meridian. You might even want to take your fingers and just kind of stroke from your shoulder down towards your chest here, just gently drawing and lengthening those muscle fibers. Good. Breathing deep. It's not very comfortable. Breathing in, lengthening out through your fingers. Release the jaw. Take the hand down beside you and then just lift your shoulder and slide it down your back. So mobilize the shoulder up towards your ear, down your back, up towards your ear, down your back, and again, up towards your ear, down your back. Lovely, coming onto your back. We'll go to the other side in a moment. Just take the knees up towards your chest and take some big circles. So we're going into the rotator muscles around our shoulders, and we'll just do a bit of rotating muscle warming up around the hip joints as well. So big circles here. And visualize the ball and socket joint, and notice how when your knees move, your core muscles activate as well. Notice how it feels in the back of your pelvis around your sacrum. One direction and then the other direction. Beautiful. Okay, so we'll just slide to the, I'm going to turn around. You guys can just roll onto the other side. I'm going to turn around so I can still see you. Okay, so fingertips on forehead, drop the elbow down. That's it. Close your eyes. Get nice and sleepy. Breathe in deeply, and as you breathe in, take the elbow up and behind you. Just notice how stiff this side is, or isn't. Interesting. And then you release the elbow down. Now you're going to breathe in really deeply in order to create a bit more space. See if the elbow can go back even half a centimeter more. Breathing in. It's like the pages of a book opening up. Pause. Top of the inhalation. Slow exhale. Every bit of breath out of your lungs. Inhale. Massage. And slow exhaling. If you need to go slower than I am, please do. Don't need to follow my pace. This is a moving meditation. So when you are absolutely tuned into the sensations of your breath, moving into your body, moving into your shoulder, allowing the muscle fibers around that shoulder to loosen, to open, to accept the breath, to expand, to release. And you're bringing in that spirit, the inspiration. You're going to find that things feel more easeful. This time, let's hold the elbow back. Leave it there. Pause. Turn your head forward again. And pause. Just let the weight of your arm and gravity increase the opening into these pectoral muscles. And this might be enough. If you feel like you can go further, maybe just start to stretch out. Imagine a fern is just unfurling. Now notice how if you pull out through the middle finger, it's almost nervy. So ideally we're not right down on the ground. There's a little bit of space between your hand and the ground so that the gravity is just drawing your arm down. Breathe deeply. If it's too much, just bring your hand back in again. Maybe even taking hands here and stretching the fascia. So you're kind of getting your fingers and you're gently drawing back in again. Like so. Beautiful. Slowly take the hand down towards your hip. Roll the shoulder up, slide it down your back. Releasing so that we can replenish. Releasing. And as our stage one, before we can replenish, we've got to release. Very good. Beautiful. Come back onto your back again. Take the the blanket out of the way. Put your feet directly underneath your knees and make sure your toes are forward. So I'm going to get you to push the heels back into the ground again. So we're doing what we did with our feet against the wall, but now they're on the ground. Rolling up the spine, then down the spine. Pushing the floor away, rolling up the spine, and then down the spine. This time you're coming up a little bit higher. So you're massaging into your shoulders, but don't let your shoulders go up near your ears. Keep them down. We want lots of space between shoulders and ears. Pause this time and just notice if you can feel like your body is kind of weighted over your bones. And then see if you can bring your shoulders towards each other underneath your body, and either hands pressing down into your mat, or if it's easy for you to interlace your hands, do so, and then press the hands and the wrists and the forearms into the ground. Now, don't move your head, just keep quite still. Press the back of your head into the mat. Let the neck area be nice and open. And then imagine your knees are trying to slide away from you. So sort of imagine your knees are being pulled to the opposite wall. And then just let your breath open the front line of your body. So you're weighted through the heels, your knees are sliding away from you, the front of your body is opening, you're getting a squeeze through the upper back. Let your bones sit on top of your bones, so they all stack. And then even though, yes, your muscles are active, just allow there to be a little bit of softness. Even in the action, there's a little bit of draping, a little bit of letting go of effort. And just returning to the breath. Sigh that breath out. Now take the hands apart, roll your shoulders apart, and then slowly, so over 2 or 3 breaths, peel your back down onto the ground. Very slowly, peeling, peeling, peeling. So we're stretching the vertebrae away from each other. Like so. Wonderful, well done. And then bring both knees up to your chest. Big circles around the pelvis, like so. One direction and then the other direction. Great. Arms out to the side, keep your knees together. And then it's good if you've got a bolster, put it down here beside you. Drop the knees over. If your knees don't come down towards the ground, or at least your feet aren't comfy on the ground, please place something underneath your knees. If there's nothing close by, slide your feet further away. So yes, we're doing a nice twist, but we don't want to do any pulling here. And then turn your head, if you can, and look over your opposite shoulder. Breathe in, and then as you exhale, see if you can draw up through the pelvic floor. So you're sort of activating through the urethra and the anus and zipping up towards your tummy button, and then let your belly go. And do that again. So activate, lifting upwards, squeezing and lifting, and then let it go. So we can just get a good bit of blood flow, squeeze and release around the digestion, the organs and the intestines here. So squeezing and lifting, and then let the belly go. Split your knees, one knee and then the other knee up and over to the other side. You might need to grab your bolster and put it underneath the knees on the side. And then just settle for a moment. Feel that lovely twist, thoracic movement, so important. So as we age and the arteries and they start to become stiffer, we need to make sure all the little capillaries going off, we want to increase those. We don't want them to get all stiff and small. We want to get more and more of them. We need to stretch and twist in order for that to happen. So again, a little bit of thumping, squeeze and lift, and release. Exhaling, squeeze and lift, and releasing. Beautiful. Allow yourself to roll over. Take your knees wide. Sink your bottom back towards your heels and stretch your fingertips out in front of you and roll your shoulders away from your ears. You want to have your armpits shining down towards the mat. And then walk your fingertips away and let your chest just drape down towards the ground. So you get quite a strong inner thigh stretch, sitting bones wide, pelvic floor releasing, tension around the anus and the tailbone releasing. And as you breathe in, Imagine your breath is being sent down here to the lower lobes of the back of your lungs. So you inhale, opening the back of your lungs, exhale, draping down a little bit further. Sometimes it can be helpful to imagine you have wings like a dragonfly, or like I don't know, yeah, like a butterfly. Let's make it like a butterfly. So as you inhale, the wings unfurl up towards the ceiling, and then as you exhale, they come back in, they curl back up again in towards your spine. So you want to expand on the inhale, exhale, drape. Expand on the inhale, and exhale, drape. Beautiful. Slowly coming up, take yourself into a seated position with your legs zigzagged over to one side. Going into the psoas muscles a bit more, and activation just through one glute. So this is my right side, my right bum muscle. I'm squeezing it, activating it, and then rolling the hip forward. So it's doing a big rolling on the hip and ball and socket joint that way. Rolling forward like so, and back. Rolling forward, activation, and back. Now imagine you have a string from the crown of your head, and your head is sitting perfectly on top of your neck. So you've got this length through your core, lifting upwards, and all we're doing is isolating this movement, glute rolling forward. Now, if you've been doing a whole lot of sitting all day, this can be a lovely release on these hip flexors and get those nice rotator muscles, you know, getting a bit of blood flow through them. Rolling forward, rolling forward. Now pause here, roll forward, and press this knee, so my right knee here. Press the inside of it down, a little bit like when we did the twists from side to side with our knees. Press it down, and then turn yourself over your left shoulder. So we come into a spiral twist, like a corkscrew from the pelvis up towards the crown of the head. Wonderful. Try pressing the knee down a little bit more. Fabulous. Now I'm going to get you to try something else. Lean forward over your left knee. Just come back so you can see me a bit better. Lean forward over your left knee. See if you can pick up that right foot off the ground. So down here, you're picking it up. You're rolling your hip forward and over in order to pick it up. So let's do a couple of those dynamically for a moment. Rolling forward, rolling forward. Now pause here. So you're going to feel a little bit on your front of your thigh, those quads as well. Take the palm of your right hand behind your foot onto the big toe edge and slap it there. So you're holding onto the big toe edge, but with an open palm. Okay, so a bit tricky. Now, I can see most of you got bent arms here. See if you can start to straighten the arm a little bit, and then come back into the twist when you're looking over your shoulder. Yeah, so already we've got that lung 1 meridian here, stretching. Wonderful. Now, if this is easy, it's not too much of a strong stretch, increase it by putting a little bit of pressure on the big toe edge of your foot into the palm of your hand, but resisting with your hand. Keep breathing, keep softening your shoulder, keep pressing the top of your knee into the ground, getting into the quads and the hip flexors as well. Beautiful, and then just dropping that side, rolling your shoulders. Take your foot out to the side here, down to these adductors a little bit. Bring your toes back. Slide your hand down towards your ankle and come up and over with the left hand. Now pretend you're between two planes of glass. So you don't want to be forward here. It doesn't actually matter how far over you go, but we want to be lengthened upwards and not tipping forward. So lengthen upwards, ribs flaring up away from hip, up and away from hip, shoulder down, not like that. So shoulder down here, up and over, up and over. So you feel like you're lengthening up for this lateral stretch, sideways, up and over, a little bit more, maybe a little bit more like so. Maybe hand down towards heels. Good. Now just turn your head, pivot it gently like that. Just notice if there's any stiffness there. If it feels okay, keep looking down and take this top hand slightly behind you. Again, going into the shoulder area where a lot of us have built up tension. Breathing in and then sigh the breath out, lower jaw releasing. Feel your shoulders sinking down your back. Breathe in deeply. Sigh the breath out. Very good. Take that shoulder down. Give it a nice little bit of a swirl behind you. And then take the feet up and over to the other side into your zigzag shape. Great. So again, just opening up the muscles that when they get too tight, they muck up our posture. So left glute activates to roll the hip forward and then you release it. Activating to roll forward, well done, and then release it. Imagine you've got the string lifting you up towards the ceiling. So this is operating, drawing in and slightly out. We don't want to be all floppy here. Rolling forward and release. Rolling forward and release. You can probably feel that psoas muscle, our main hip flexor, lengthening. So pause here. So now we've got the stretch. Top of the left knee, so the sort of inside of the left knee on top of it, pressing into the mat, and then turning over your knee. Just give yourself a little twist here for a moment. My body loves a twist, so I hope yours does too. And then lean forward over that right knee and try rolling even further forward to come almost onto the top of that knee, and then drop it back again. Just do that a couple of times so you get that sensation of rolling the hip and then back. Ball and socket joint rolling forward and then back. Rolling forward might get a bit crampy here. Pause. Take the palm of your left hand onto the big toe edge. That's it, Helen. Good. Lifting up. Now, if you have arms like that, see if you can straighten it and then turn to look over your right shoulder. Keep breathing. Do not stop breathing. Now, little adjustments. Start to press maybe the big toe edge of your foot into your palm. Don't let it move though. You're pushing back with the palm of your hand. Press the top of your knee into your thigh, slightly into the ground. Good. And slowly coming down. Let's just let that shoulder release. Take that foot out to the side. So we're going to these inner thighs now. Slide the hand down towards your ankle, up and over. Again, imagine between those two planes of glass. So we want to stretch upwards first. Rib cage flaring here. Pelvis opening. So the side of the waist opening, pelvis dropping. And then down. And then up. And then maybe down a bit more. And then breathing up and then down. So we always lengthen before we soften. Lengthen before we soften. Look, I feel like I can almost reach my shadow there. Beautiful. And then I'm just going to mobilize the head a little bit here as well. And then look down and maybe take that arm behind you. So now we're suddenly going right down into these pectoral muscles again. Deep full breathing. Let your shoulder relax down your back. So every time you exhale, the base of your shoulder blade is sliding down your back, away from your ear. That's the way, slowly coming up. Oh, that feels good. Come onto hands and knees again. Lift your tail behind you. Nice wide hands. Lift your tail behind you. Tuck your toes slightly so you get a bit of a stretch through the soles of the feet. And then tuck and roll. And then lift and let that lovely roll go right up to the crown of the head, and then tuck and roll. So cat and cow, massaging through the spine. Letting the breath come into your lungs as you take the tail up, and letting the breath be pushed out of your lungs as you take the tail down. That's it. Just give your tail a little wriggle from side to side. Lift up, point, stay there, and slowly come into downward facing dog. Now we want to imagine the tail is being pushed back and up. So as if the tail is being attached to the intersection of the wall and the ceiling, and then slowly being drawn back and up in that direction. So don't be forward here, be back here. It doesn't matter if your heels don't go all the way down to the ground. And this is your opportunity to let those feet muscles have their moment in the spotlight. So give them a good massage. Roll over your feet, spread your toes, give them a little dance, let them kind of swish from side to side. Notice where your ankles are, where what's feeling tight. If there's a drape you need to do here, do the drape, not too extensively, and just a little bit here. one side and then the other. And I really like to bend the knees across the middle of the body as well, just to let the hips get a bit of action. Nice. Now, take your feet wide on your mat, toes out, heels in, and then just let your tail drop back. So heavy kangaroo tail dropping down and back, but sitting bones wide. We're not tucking here. We've got that nice lumbar curve. Heart center, you've got to strengthen the heart center heading up that way. Now, either forearms, if you're a bit higher, or elbows, pressing your knees apart, shoulders away from ears. You're pretty active through the upper back muscles here, yeah? So we're not kind of all slopey, we're active. Let your jaw be nice and release. This is going to help the pelvic floor muscles and the thigh muscles relax as well. Now we're going to push the heels into the ground in order to come up. So very slowly, push the heels, get your legs working, push the heels, slowly come up. Wonderful. Drop back down into goddess. Let your arms be nice and floppy, and then just take your hands and swish them around your body. So I want you to turn your hands so that the palms push through space, push through space. Keep your torso straight. We just want to rinse out the spine again. Lovely. And then take it into a discus throwing movement. So pretend you're throwing a discus, a little bit of a pointed toe, and then drop down. So you're throwing a discus, just stretching a little bit of the back bend, exhaling down. Lengthen the whole body, and then come down. Now, as you come down, loosen the lower jaw and make a bit of noise. Go like this. Ha! Ha! That's it. Notice how nice it feels to press that exhalation out of your body with the movement. Ha! Ha! Get every bit of breath out of you. Clear the base of your lungs. Ha! Ha! That's it. And then just come back and give yourself a little tap onto the top of your shoulders. Give them a rinse and come back to your bit of wall space. Getting tall against the wall so we can get into that feeling of alignment in the body. You want to have your feet going straight forward. You want to have an inch or so behind your heels. So there's space for your bottom. Now, for most of us ladies, the thought of putting your behind behind you is really hard because we are, a lot of us are slightly like this all the time. Not just ladies, men too. Especially, I bet you, those of you who have partners who cycle, notice that they have a posterior rotation of the pelvis. Look down at your feet. Make your toes wide, so spread them apart. Soften your knees, push down and slightly out. So you want to feel as if you were on the beach, you would have a perfect imprint of your foot on the sand. And then allow this part of your pelvis here to be soft. So there's a dint at the front of your pelvis, and your bum is pushing back into the wall. So if you had a kangaroo tail, it would be pushing back through a hole in the wall here. Now, let the upper body press into the wall as well, but don't let your ribs poke out. This is the hard bit. Pelvis has to be back, and the back of your shoulders into the wall as well. Draw the chin back, so you will get a bit of a double chin, and allow the ridge of your head to be as close to the wall as possible, or even against the wall if that is possible. So down here against the wall, here against the wall, back of your head against the wall, feet pushing down and out. Roll your right shoulder up towards your ears and then slide it right down, palm forward, back of the hand on the wall. Same thing with the left shoulder, palm forward, back of the hand on the wall, forearms on the wall. Now, soften the knees, push down and out with your feet, back with your bum into the wall, back with your forearms, back between the shoulders. So you're trying to get your bra strap to push into the wall. Don't let the pelvis pop off. Press back with your head, a little bit of pressure, just gentle pressure, back with your head. Down and out with your feet, soften the knees, back with your bum, back between your shoulders, bra strap pressing in, back of the arms pushing in, back of the head pushing in. Breathe. Don't forget to breathe. You're breathing down here, not up into your shoulders. Right down here, base of your ribs, flaring to breathe. Now slowly come off the wall and step yourself forward. And then just roll your shoulders to release the tension we just put there, and roll your head around. So let your shoulders and your head roll and unwind, like so. One direction and then the other. And then take your hands on your pelvis and just roll your pelvis around as well. Breathe. That's the way, one direction and then the other direction. Lovely. Now come back and take yourself into Tadasana. So you want to imagine you just come off the wall, but we don't have the tension. So let your hands hang down towards the ground. Your feet with your toes are going straight forward, pushing down through your heels. So a good 70% of your weight is in your heels. And just like the Queen, imagine you have a very heavy ermine cloak over your shoulders, which makes your shoulders drop down your back. They can't be forward with an ermine cloak. You need to be nice and, nice and broad with your shoulders here. Chin's drawn in because you've got a heavy crown on your head. If your head is jutting forward, it's going to fall off. If your chin is jutting upwards, it's going to fall off. So head bang on top of your neck. Imagine you've got that weighted crown on your head. You have to kind of slightly push the crown of your head upwards in order to hold the weight of your crown. And I'm going to get you just to either look down or even close your eyes and see if you can visualize your skeleton and see if you can feel into the muscles that are just gently activated right now. So very subtle activation through the glutes, very subtle activation through the thigh muscles. And you've got your core muscles, so around that corsetry around your spine is slightly activated, slightly drawing in, slightly up. And of course, you can feel the weight, that 8 to 10 pounds of weight of your head just dropping straight down through your neck. And take a moment to breathe here. And starting from the floor, just allow your awareness to slowly float upwards through your core, right up to the very crown of your head. So into that 8th chakra where your imaginary crown is sitting. And imagine that there is this warmth there where the crown is. And feel as if you are expanding up and just keep lifting upwards towards that sensation just above the crown of your head. And then as you exhale, just feel your shoulders sliding down, melting down, and just feel that poise as your head is perfectly balanced on top of your neck. Wonderful. And just feel your spine kind of reconfiguring into this upward spirals, upward thought. Imagine that crown is merging with the sky above you. Wonderful. Now, as you breathe out, as you focus on your exhalation, keep taking your exhalations from the crown of your head and allow the exhalations just to melt down through your body. You're allowing your awareness to slowly filter back downwards, down through the jaw, through the neck and the shoulders, down, down. So you feel like you're starting to relax inside. If there's any tension and holding around the belly, you're letting go of that. Your heart feels open and expanded and relaxed. The pelvis feels nice and relaxed and heavy. The key muscles are activated, but you're not holding anywhere. And just keep allowing that sense of release to flow down through your feet. So you're plugging down into the earth, washing away every sense of tightness with your gentle awareness. And just noticing how when you allow yourself to internally relax, it feels like your body is expanding. It feels like the energy of the body is condensed energy, but the energy is becoming less dense, more open, more alive, just more comfortable. Beautiful. I'm going to get you to take the hands onto the hip flexors now. Bend your knees and slowly peel yourself down so your belly button is against your thighs and your head starts to drop down. Just give it a shake. Let your jaw be relaxed. Let your cheeks be relaxed. If it's comfortable for your shoulders, interlace your hands at the sacrum and then lift the hands up towards the ceiling, like so. Then you want to take the whole shoulder girdle slightly up towards the ceiling. If that's not so good on your shoulders, hands on hips and elbows towards each other. But we're just allowing our forward fold to seal the practice, take us back into that parasympathetic nervous system, that calm state. Breathing in, sighing the breath out. Breathing in and sighing the breath out. Beautiful. Slowly take yourself down onto your mat. Tucking yourself into child pose. If you need to take something underneath your bottom, between your bottom and your calves, please do so. And if your forehead doesn't comfortably come to the ground, either stack your fists and place your forehead on your fists, or grab your bolster or your blanket and place that underneath your forehead. So again, just allowing you to drop into that parasympathetic nervous system, shoulders melting away from ears now. Nice and relaxed. If you can, take your hands down towards your feet. That's so lovely to have the back of your hands on the mat, palms facing upwards this time, shoulders softening, jaw is softening. And where you have the pressure through your third eye point, just imagine that as like a river. And if there's any residual thoughts flying around your head, and when you notice you have thoughts, just imagine every time you exhale that like clear river water is flowing through the brain, through that third eye point, and then down into the mat, blanket, hands. So you are doing the work to allow your body and your brain to ease down into rest and digest, parasympathetic nervous system. Consciously allow your shoulders to melt. You can do this. You don't need a massage. You're allowing your shoulders to let go. Every time you exhale, soften your cheeks even more, soften your shoulders even more. You can imagine that big hands are just softening shoulders, releasing muscles down your back, allowing the pelvis to become more heavy, allowing your belly to become heavy, feeling that third eye point between the brows is where your breath is coming in and out. With every exhalation, the mind is becoming clearer and clearer and calmer and clearer and softer. Whole body soft, whole body relaxed, whole body soft, and the whole body relaxed. From child pose, just rolling onto your back. And if you've got a bolster nearby, taking it and just sliding it underneath the knees so the knees can flop outwards. So really nice to have just a bit of height underneath the knees, like so. And if it feels like when you lie down your chin is poking up, do take a bit of height underneath the ridge of your head so we can keep that nice alignment that we just created when we were in mountain pose, Tadasana. Palms facing upwards, back of the hands on the ground, shoulders away from the ears. And once you settle down and you feel comfortable, take 3 changing breaths. Again, it's completely you taking control of your central nervous system. So you breathe in through the back of the nostrils, you hold the top of the breath, and then you just let the breath go. Drop it. Again, just breathe in deeply, hold the top of the breath, full breath, and then let it go. And one more of those. And then just take a moment to imagine in your mind's eye that you are lying in a beautiful, very lush valley. And there's a softly flowing river running through this valley with crystal clear water. And the grass is vibrant. It's emerald green. The water is sparkling clear and the banks are filled with fragrant blossoms, and they are just wafting their smell through the air. And there is a peace and a tranquility and a deep natural wisdom here in this place. And just imagine that you are lying on a comfortable raft in this river, this slowly moving river, and you are starting to enjoy a soothing ride down through the valley. And the sun is dappling through overhead trees, and the breeze on your skin is light. And you know that whichever way the river carries you, it's okay. Because you feel safe here. You feel protected. You actually feel loved. And you feel an immense sense of gratitude for this moment in time where you are simply being, observing, feeling. And you realize that there is so much freedom and surrender to the flow of the river. Ishvara Pranadhara, when we open the hand and we give over to something that's greater than ourselves. Surrendering to the flow of the meandering river. And just imagine now that you've come to a pool on the side of the river and it's surrounded by rich moss. And the whole area is bathed in warm sunlight. And there is a beautiful waterfall coming down into this pool. And just imagining that your head dips underneath this water pouring down, this crystal clear water. Just imagine that delicious pressure of the massaging water pouring onto the crown of your head, flowing down your cheeks and into your jaw and into your neck. Just feeling that relaxing pressure of the crystal clear waterfall flowing down, relaxing every little muscle of the face, all the way down through chest and torso and arms and pelvis, all the way through legs, down into feet, whole body relaxed, whole body washed clean with your gentle awareness, whole body relaxed. And allow yourself to take your attention just underneath the skin surface of the whole of your body, feeling into that inner relaxation now. Concentrating on the energetic body. Just developing that awareness of this physical body of yours from the top of the head to the tips of your toes. Complete stillness, awareness of the subtle, vibrating, energetic body. Allow your breath to become refined and silk-like. And feeling even in your external stillness that there is this constant movement inside. The body healing, the prana flowing. And just feeling that deep sense of peace, that inner wisdom, and that guiding light, knowing that it is always there. Let every single out-breath detach you from tension, from suffering, and allow you to sink into that grace, that inner poise, that stillness, that sense of who you truly are. This dignity that our Queen embodied so beautifully. Allow that to settle over you like a cloak. And now, whilst you keep this global awareness of the whole of your magnificent physicality, this vessel you're wearing through this lifetime, while your awareness is expanded, bring your attention to the very tip of your nostrils and start to really experience the coolness of each inhalation as it comes in through the back of your nostrils and into your throat and into your lungs, and then the warmth of each exhalation. And then consciously start to increase your inhalation. So it feels like you're infusing the body with fresh energy as you inspire, bringing in that spirit, the inspiration, the breath, the life force. Feel it flowing through the body down to fingers and down to toes and up into the brain. Slowly start to wriggle fingers and toes. Being very aware of the fluidity of your body. It's mostly water. Start to move in a fluid, kind of water-like way, allowing the limbs to just slowly stretch. And when you're ready, rolling over to one side, pressing the hands into the ground and just pushing yourself up so that you come to a seated position very slowly, very fluidly. Taking your head, finding that place where your head sits again, absolutely perfectly on top of your neck. Imagine again the crown is sitting there, the ermine cloak is on your shoulders. Notice just how relaxed you've made the muscles around your eyes and your cheeks, how soft they are, how unwound your jaw is now. How dropped your shoulders feel. And taking the hands into the heart center, pressing the thumbs right into your chest there. Take a couple of breaths where you feel the energy of your heart expanding. And let's just take a moment to think about that poise, that grace, that dignity, the service, the absolute dedication of Queen Elizabeth II, and how we can choose to step into the qualities that she embraced, that she embodied her whole life, 70 years of service to the crown, to her people. And mentally saying both to yourself in this moment and to her, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. The love and light in me bows to the love and the light in you. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Namaste.